And welcome back to Salted Playground Podcast. We are back from the dead.
A new house edition. Sitting on buckets edition.
Yeah, we are. I have not bought chairs for this, and we're not even in the sound room yet. It's ad hoc buckets. All we got is the desk. But we're here, and we're proud to be here, aren't we, Jacob?
Hasn't slamming things had a bad experience on this show? I feel like you slamming things has given us a lot of trouble.
See, you know what the difference is? Oh, my computer's not on my desk. So I can do this all I want and it won't affect anything. The problem was, on my computer was on the table. If I did that, that's how a podcast died. I don't remember what episode it was when I slammed my fist down and it went boom and my computer stopped working. That was a good day though. I don't know. Actually, listeners, go back and find out what episode that was.
I think I might still have that conversation. I should still have those texts.
They're probably far away though.
That's last year, I can tell you that much.
Yeah, no, it was probably early last year, early April, because that's how long we've been doing this. At least it feels like it. Anyway, so this is going to be our comic book movie review, and we review Dark Knight Rises. And as always, I am your host, your ghost host. Because I am dead, you see. Christian Faltz. And today I'm joined by Batman.
Okay. Was that a cue to do an impression? I'm not going to do that.
I'm Batman.
There you go.
It's really easy. Just
no, I'm better than that.
Tick your lip. Go, baby. You go, hey, baby. So this is why we need to get the webcams up, so we can do a split screen as we're recording. Live stream it to YouTube. People can see. Ooh. See that?
What the hell was that?
Exactly. Can't describe it, can we? It was only a visual that only we shared. We need to share it to our fans, Jacob.
I don't know. I think I saw that poll and it was overwhelmingly listen only.
Yeah, it was. It was very, very informative.
The people do not want to see our faces.
Maybe well, we can do both though, can't we? Can't we do podcast and video? Can't we service both audience? Jack off both dicks at the same time, as it were.
As it were. You just killed it by making it straight up sex.
What do you mean?
There's no as it were.
Yeah, it's not straight up sex. It's just hand gibbers.
What?
Hand gibbers.
Hand gibbers?
Hand gibbers. A little H days. It's not sex. Otherwise, then you're literally fucking yourself every time you masturbate.
It's called self-pleasure.
Yeah, not self-sex.
You could call it that.
You could. People don't. Well, I'm sorry. Normal losers. Losers go, man, I'm not a virgin. I've had sex. Masturbation doesn't count. Anyway, we're going blue here because you don't know who stars in this movie. No one knows who stars in this movie. The credits sadly were lost to time. That's why no awards are given out to this movie because everyone died. It was tragic.
Why did this movie come out 4 days earlier in New York?
Because fuck New York.
This movie only came out 5 years ago.
Really?
I know. That's what I was thinking when I saw that.
Wow, it seems like it came out. Like, stuff that seems like it's not been out long has been out for like 11 years.
I know.
And stuff we think has been out for forever has only been 5. Or do we just not understand the passage of time?
I don't. You think it's because of the oversaturation of superhero movies? That movie must have come out forever ago. Because I've got all these intervening superhero movies in my mind.
That might be why. Because that was like Iron Man 2 came out?
It's 2012.
It might have been Iron Man 3 then.
I think it was Iron Man 3.
And Spider-Man, the first Amazing Spider-Man, because I remember us watching this in the drive-in. Yep. We went to that, then watched Amazing Spider-Man, and we tore apart Dark Knight Rises. But not as much as we tore apart Amazing Spider-Man. Because sending all the cops to sewers is a bad decision. Going, sir, there is a bioterrorist actively throwing chemical weapons into the citizenry and mutating our officers. And the captain goes, yeah, but that's not important. There's a vigilante on the streets that we need to catch.
All right, superhero movies for 2012, The Avengers. Wow, really?
Really? It seems like so long ago, doesn't it?
I don't even know what's going on.
The Avengers only came out 5 years ago. It's like, oh, God.
It looks like for that year, it was The Avengers, The Dark Knight Rises, and The Amazing Spider-Man.
Wow, that was the year The Avengers came out. Which had better box office sales? Dark Knight Rises or Avengers?
Everything I knows.
You just because we're about to get next year's Avengers 3.
Yeah.
So
5 years. That's in Avengers. What? Every other. That doesn't sound right.
It doesn't.
I don't know what's happening.
Mine's exploding. I know phase 3 was phase 4, phase 3. Are we in phase 3 or phase 2 right now?
I think we're in phase 3.
Phase 3 has been kind of long. Phase 3 is... Well, they also ousted Joss Whedon. Thank the Lord Jesus Christ upon Mount Sinai. Moses was on Mount Sinai.
Avengers 2 came out in 2015.
Really? 2 years ago?
Yeah! We're awful at this.
It seems like eons ago.
No!
What's happening, Jacob?
So
are we experiencing time differently for different things?
Why do you...
Is it because there's so many superhero movies? It's just the oversaturation. He makes it seem like it's been forever ago.
Yeah, you don't expect like 3 superhero movies to come out in 1 year, so you're artificially stretching the time.
And now there's 3 specifically Marvel movies coming out a year. And then you got, this year you got Thor, Spider-Man, Guardians. Mm-hmm. And then on top of that you got Justice League and Wonder Woman.
We had Wolverine.
And then Wolverine. Logan.
Yeah, Logan.
So that's 6. 6 goddamn, at least. I might be forgetting something.
Yeah.
6 in a year.
I might go to the doctor tomorrow.
That's a lot of... No wonder it feels like it's been so long, because it is... I mean, I remember when X-Men came out in 2000, and it was like, 2002 for X2? That was a superhero movie every 2 years.
Yep.
Now we have 6 in a year. That's unacceptable. I won't allow it. Yes. I mean, it makes it so we can make these comic book movie episodes last longer.
We're not going to run out of material.
But, I mean, I don't know, 2 years from now when we're finishing up, like, the black and white Legends of Zorro, we might look back and go, man, maybe they should have been releasing more comic book movies. We might have to dump into animated movies. Oh, man. Time waits for no man.
I know.
Anyway.
We'll start looking into my 401k. I don't know. The time is escaping us.
It is. But time is not escaping the credits of this movie.
Yeah. Now with our minds blown the first 10 minutes into this episode.
Yep. Jacob used to actually see the screen. Back in the day, he only saw nothing except for what was on his phone or pad. I kept the information hidden from him, for he cannot know these things. It'll warp his mind. He's a simple-minded man.
That's fair.
Some man with simple needs.
It's even more fair. Anyway.
I'm nothing if not egregious. That's not correct. I don't know what I was going for there, but I know egregious is not the right word.
Anyway, The Dark Knight Rises, directed by Christopher Nolan, produced by Emma Thomas, Christopher Nolan, Charles Roven, screenplay by Jonathan Nolan, Christopher Nolan, story by Christopher Nolan, David Esquire, and starring Christian Bale, Michael Caine, Gary Oldman, Anne Hathaway, Tom Hardy, Marion Cotillard, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, and Morgan Freeman. Music by Hans Zimmer. Cinematography, Wally Pfister.
Yes, Tom Hardy was in this movie, and we gave it to you, the people. Bane. So, overall, this movie, how long was it?
2 hours, 44 minutes.
Yeah.
We realized this when were we checking the time, or did we just jostle and see that it was,
we just jostled. It was like, holy shit, we've only been in an hour and a half. We got an hour to go.
We saw we were in 1 hour, 50 minutes, and there was 50 more minutes to go.
It's a long movie. I mean, it makes sense because it's packed. It's a lot of story.
That's Lord of the Rings uncut. Like, approaching it. Really?
4 hours for each movie.
Really?
Yes. You know, I know. I just rewatched Fellowship, and no, uncut, all the scenes put in, the extended editions. That's why it's 12 hours to watch 3 movies, Jacob.
I remember I was there. Man, that was exhausting.
I love those movies.
You can love something and still be exhausted.
No, you can't.
What do you do for sex?
Well, I keep going.
I obviously don't get exhausted.
Obviously, she tires out first. She's like, I'm tired, let's go to bed. But it's only been 3 hours, honey.
But this was just the foreplay.
I'm not with anybody. So, there's a lot of story to cover.
Yeah.
It starts off with at the fundraiser, right?
The 8 hours after the end of Dark Knight.
8 hours?
Hours, yep. A lot has happened in those 8 hours. Bruce Wayne has become famed for being a recluse. They put away all those criminals, and they've managed to whitewash Harvey Dent.
In 8 hours.
They passed a law, too.
Yeah, 8 hours. So that was a very, very productive 8 hours.
Yeah.
In between The Dark Knight and The Dark Knight Rises.
Yeah. 8 years.
I was not going to let him get away with that. 8 hours since... What?
Anyway, they talk about the Dent Act, which Somehow, something to do with parole. I don't know if they ever explained this.
It's the Dent Act. It's very similar to a real world thing called the Patriot Act. You just throw him in Guantanamo Bay, no parole. But he's an American citizen. I don't care what the Constitution says. Do it. That's unlawful search and seizure. I don't. Hey, that's nonsense talk. I don't have none of it. Marbury versus Madison confuses me.
Where did that come from?
Well, because, okay. So generally the argument against Marbury versus Madison is that the court grants self powers did not have. Like, the ability to judicial review to decide what is constitutional and not constitutional. So a lot of people think that it was not granted in the Constitution. The court granted itself powers, and that there's a problem with that. However, if the court can't decide what's constitutional and unconstitutional, then can't Congress make a law that violates the Constitution?
Sorry, I was reading about the Dent Act. Apparently, it denied parole of specifically everybody Harvey Dent prosecuted. I don't know how.
The thousands of people he prosecuted? That courtroom was full.
Yeah. Those guys were specifically denied parole, which probably makes it even more illegal because they singled people out.
Yeah, but seriously, like, if the court doesn't have the power of judicial review to decide what's constitutional and unconstitutional, why can't Congress just make a law that completely violates that amendment?
Because they're afraid of the zombie of Madison. Not Madison. Shit, I can't remember the name of that. Marshall Roberts. Nope, he was right the first time.
John Jay.
John Jay.
Are you talking about the Supreme Court justice that oversaw Marbury versus Madison?
That's
just John Jay.
Is it?
Yeah.
I thought he was just famous for the.
John Jay was the first Supreme Court justice.
Who am I thinking of?
John Marshall was later. I believe. I can't remember exactly when. I think it was later. I would like to say around Andrew Jackson's time off the top of my head. But John Jay, I'm pretty sure was our first Supreme Court justice. You're thinking James Madison of Marbury versus Madison?
You are incorrect, by the way. I was right. It was John Marshall.
It was John Marshall?
John Marshall was the Chief Justice from 1801 to 1830.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, I guess. But John Jay was a Supreme Court justice. I'm pretty sure it was our first Supreme Court. You want to look that up, Chief Justice?
I'm working on it.
All right. I mean, we can prove how wrong I am on American history.
He was preceded by Oliver Ellsworth, who was preceded by John Rutledge, and then it goes John Jay.
Yes, I was right. John Jay was the first Supreme Court Chief Justice.
Yes, but he had nothing to do with Marbury.
Okay, I'm sorry. You are correct on that score.
Jay was out by 1795.
But I was correct in the fact that John Jay was the Supreme Court. Was the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court, the first one.
That's why I got really confused when you said John Jay. I was like, what? I don't think that's right.
Sorry, my early American history on the courts is honestly not. I still haven't made it through the Federalist Papers because they're a bit dry.
Yeah. Anyway,
we
were talking about the Dent Act, then we were talking about Supreme Court justices.
We veered off topic.
That's because we're each willing to strangle the other over proving ourselves correct over inconsequential details.
Well, I think that's a good thing because it means that the listeners get the facts,
get the education they come to Salty Playground for.
You know how often we talk about the Supreme Court and court cases?
Surprisingly often for what is ostensibly a movie review program.
Comes off. Constitutional law is a very key factor of Salty Playground.
We talked about it last week or the last episode, Chunk, or the ones before that, because we were curious about how you track supervillains and their aliases.
Yeah, I think, because that's when we came up with the idea of the triumvirate.
Yes, that's right, yeah.
Of Dimitri, the tailor, and then the immortal HR guy, and then the constitutional lawyer. Yeah. Of the villain syndicate.
DC, return our calls.
I would buy that comic. Like who are you? We're the consultancy. What? We're the consultancy. We consult people.
Now, are they hired, or do they just go up to random villains and like they walk into LA and these three guys are there?
I like to think they're a bit like
Killinger.
Yeah, Dr. Henry Killinger. Yeah. Because they just walk in and they're villain consultants. Just walk in and villains are confused, but in the end they're better. Honestly, I think Dr. Henry Killinger might be a better version of our idea, but I still like our idea.
These all those guys fused together.
Fused into one magnificent Mary Poppins.
It's like former Secretary of State. Was he state?
Yeah, he was Secretary of State.
Anyway. We're still in the first 10 minutes. Yeah,
so they're talking about we opened up the movie and then we went off track. We talked about the Dent Act. This is a charity event about the Dent Act, and then boom, off track. So yeah, it's a charity event about the Dent Act.
I don't know if it's about the Dent Act or just for the police.
For the police, and they're all talking about how Wayne doesn't come; he's a recluse. We see Anne Hathaway; she's Anne Hathawaying around.
She's Hathawaying. It's a verb for whatever Anne Hathaway does.
Except for she's never Anne Hathaway in any of the Alice in Wonderlands. That was something different.
What was that?
That was.
Were you not prepared for the obvious follow-up?
That was Hath to Come. There's Hathaway, Hath to Come.
Sounds so vaguely filthy. I'm Hath to Come. Sounds like
that was me when I was a teenager watching The Princess Diaries.
I was going to claim it's something she says when she's having sex with her husband.
Is she married?
I have no idea. If not, then her sexual
because a part of me would die to know that fact.
All right, let's do this.
Because there's one part of me that for some reason, not for personality, because I think we have very, very different views on a lot of things. She's just very attractive. Ever since Princess Diaries, that was the first thing that I saw her in. Yeah.
Since 2012, to a man named Adam Schulman.
We can't all get what we want. We can't always get what we want, but if we try sometimes, might just find and get what you need. I don't know how this applies in this situation, but we'll find out, won't we?
I don't think you'll ever meet Anne Hathaway in person.
You don't think we'll get big enough to somehow just run across Anne Hathaway?
If this wasn't recording, I would stake money on it. But since this is recording and have proof of it, I won't.
Because when it comes up, I know you'll call me out on it.
But I'm just going to state, for the record, I would have bet money that no, you would never meet her. I would have.
No, you wouldn't have, because you're not doing it. So you're lying.
I would have. In the alternate universe where we're not doing this show, I would have. I would have bet money.
Because you believe the show's going to be successful, we can meet Anne Hathaway.
No, I just don't want to.
And I'll be all creepy.
I like how in this hypothetical somehow you still fail. This is your fantasy. You meet Anne Hathaway, you still.
That's got to be realistic. Let's be honest.
We need to work on your self-esteem. Even my dream self is a failure.
I didn't say a failure. I just said a creep. Maybe she finds that delightfully charming. She finds it endearing.
I would bet money.
Are you going to bet money that if we meet her and I am creepy, that she would not find that endearing?
Anne Hathaway has a Twitter, right?
Are you got to request you come on the show? What's going on here now?
I don't know what that's about.
Well, are we going to do Anne Hathaway news now? We kind of got away from all our news segments. No more Michael Clark Duncan stories.
I ran out of those.
We don't have any Ben Affleck relationship status updates anymore.
They're making it work.
They are. And what was our other one?
What's her face's Death Watch?
Yes, Uma Thurman Death Watch. She dead?
By the way, Anne Hathaway does have a Twitter. You could ask her if she finds creepiness in there.
How about this, Jacob? We bet if she comes on this show, if we just meet, we meet somehow somewhere, and I'm all creepy because let's be honest, I'm me, and she happens to find that endearing, that you give me money.
How much money?
How much money you willing to bet?
I'll give you $50.
Okay.
We're going to shake. I know this isn't a visual medium, but I'm shaking on it.
Yeah. So if it ever comes up, we ever met Anne Hathaway, I owe him money. If she doesn't find him endearing, but if she does, he owes me money.
All right.
Are you making this happen? You really want $50 that hard?
I've got to give it some weight, but not enough, but not a lot.
Because what if it happens?
Yeah, what if it happens?
What if it happens? What if we hit it off? We get married, and you give me $50?
Well, she's already married.
Well, she can get divorced.
She's Catholic. Old-fashioned Catholic.
Is she a Catholic?
I have no idea.
Yeah.
These are all questions we'll have to ask.
So she'll get an annulment, or her husband will mysteriously die. After we meet. That was a joke.
Better hope nothing happens.
Yeah, that's going to come out to bite me in the ass. Anyway,
Uma Thurman.
She dead yet?
It's not. Is she dead yet? I don't know why you sound excited. I don't know what kind of death pool you're working on.
That's between me and my bookie.
Got long odds on Uma Thurman.
Did you get her kids? I think that's where we left off with her. She's in a custody battle.
Yeah, I think she did get her kids.
She had that show too on television that failed. Or was that my hopes?
I think that was your hopes.
I don't know why I'm wishing ill against Uma Thurman out of nowhere. It's the most out of left field thing.
I don't know what she's done to you recently. How she
spit on me. We were walking down the street. She saw me and called me a gutter person and then spit in my face.
She said, Mads Mikkelsen's a wonderful man. I wish you'd stop saying things about him. I don't know what just happened to this thing, but it's going down.
Luckily, I've not ran into Mads Mikkelsen. Because if I ever saw him, I had to run the other way for fear of him, unhinging his jaw and swallowing me whole.
Is that you see Mads Mikkelsen walking down the street, you cross and go to the other side?
Exactly. I suggest everybody do that.
It's the safest thing to do.
I mean, he's like a snake in that he eats people whole.
Mads Mikkelsen, well-known cannibal.
Yeah, he was on that. He was on the documentary Hannibal.
Nobody does anything because he's famous.
Well, they get off on everything.
Yeah.
Sexually and legally.
It's a broken system.
But one that works. What?
How's it working for you? What are you getting out of the broken Hollywood system letting actors eat people?
Don't you worry about it. But don't look at my freezer. And don't ask where the money's coming from.
I get fresh human meat from a Hollywood supermarkets.
No, I was more making the case that I am selling them human meat for money.
She's going to be a...
actress one day.
I think on the jury for the Cannes Film Festival.
Con.
And she apparently showed off her bikini body and St. Bart's.
The con. Con! That's what Kirk shouts when he's on the toilet and he's constipated.
And she is still alive.
Still alive. Ah! That was the PS4. It's trying to kill us. But anyway, back to The Dark Knight Rises.
Now that we got old business out of the way.
My butt is really starting to dig into this bucket. I can't say it's digging. It's more like my butt is now starting to engulf it, like a amorphous blob.
We're gonna have to talk about your health issues because I'm not experiencing that problem at
all. It's because I am fat. Anyway,
I weighed myself. I'm 170. That's where I'm at. I carry it all right here.
I am not gonna say where I'm at because I weigh like almost 110 pounds more than you, and we are the same height. And I would like to say it's muscle, but I mean, there's this flap. This is not attractive. This is the real reason why I don't have a girlfriend.
Muscle doesn't move up and down like this.
No, it doesn't jiggle like Santa Claus's tummy.
And now that we're talking about our weight, Dark Knight Rises.
We're open about everything here at Salted Playground. We are allowed to say things about other people because we're willing to joke about ourselves. But Dark Knight Rises. We should at some point talk about this movie.
We should. We're half an hour. We've just started the movie.
So, Anne Hathaway's... That's right, where's Hathaway around? And of course, Alfred tells her to go deliver... Her specifically. Was her whole plan to be called on? Because if she wasn't called on, how would she get the fingerprints?
He was looking for somebody else first, so maybe she killed that other person.
That's what I like to think.
I like to imagine Catwoman as a cold-blooded murderer.
I don't like to imagine. I know she is.
I personally know Catwoman. Yeah. Awful person. Murders all the time. Fear for my life. Probably shouldn't be talking about it.
I don't fear for my life. I have shit on her.
Does it matter if you have shit on a murderer? I mean, unless you've got a dead man switch.
I cannot confirm nor deny.
And even then, what kind of blackmail can you have on a murderer that's worse than murder?
Current whereabouts, location, secret hideouts.
I mean, how do you do current whereabouts when she's killed you?
Weaknesses, bank accounts.
Bank accounts?
I don't know. Wheeler just said I was safe. And I trust a man whose name is Edward Nygma.
Anyway, Catwoman makes it to Bruce's room where she messes around with a safe.
Yeah.
Steals pearls.
His mother's pearls. The one she died in.
Yeah, Bruce, of course, keeps them in the safe because that's an incredibly upsetting thought. And then she almost gets her head arrowed, shot off.
Yeah, and then Bruce talks to her, and she's like, yeah, you wouldn't hit a woman, I wouldn't want to fight a cripple. But, I mean, we gotta do what we gotta do. And kicks his cane out from under him, and then leaves the party.
Yeah.
And then, of course, Jim is like, I need to tell you the truth. I came here to give you a real speech about Harvey Dent. And then he chickens out.
Yep. Keeps the speech in his pocket. Huge mistake.
Or is it? Or is Jim Gordon really a master villain?
It's been 8 years. He should have it memorized. Especially if what we hear later in the movie is the entirety of the speech. Because it's not that long.
It's like 5 pages, maybe like 2 sentences per page.
Yeah.
Really, really big font.
He's an old man.
He can't see without his glasses, Jacob. He made the speech so he could give it even if he didn't have his glasses.
When he takes them off to gesture to the crowd for some real talk. So he doesn't look at the page and go, oh, shit.
Now I can't see.
And for the benefit of the audience, when I was saying that, I did take off my glasses.
This is why
start gesturing to an imaginary crowd.
This is why we need cameras, so people can see our gesticulations. I'm trying to enrich my vernacular. Make it more verbose.
Anyway.
Annie Huskerdoozles.
We did skip over, of course, I think the actual beginning of the movie where Bane.
Though, yeah, I forgot all about that.
How?
What?
How? That's so important to the movie.
Is it, though?
The Doctor's the one who turns the reactor into a bomb, so yeah.
And he's also the one that that destroys the stock market with Bruce Wayne, but why is that plot relevant?
Who is this Bane character? What does he have to do with this movie?
Tell us, Jacob, while I get a drink.
Well,
Oh God, Sidna hurts.
The movie actually starts with
So old.
a van driving to a plane in the middle of nowhere.
Bumfuck nowhere.
And where these people go up to a CIA agent and say, yeah, how would you take these guys to? And the CIA agent doesn't just immediately shoot them in their heads. He says, yeah, no, we'll take on some extra passengers since they work for Bain. And then he has a failed interrogation, which winds up with the person they were actually trying to protect taken away and everyone else dead.
But a good speech given.
It was a good speech.
Now is not the
time for fear.
Thought my man voice.
Yeah, well,
I think I nail it.
it's respectable.
I think I nail it. I think Tom Hardy would, when I do the Bane voice, would look at me and go, "Yeah."
When Tom Hardy dies, I'll be up next. Well, he's probably only about 20 years older than we are.
You really think he's in his 40s?
Yeah, how old do you think
I think he's in his 30s.
There's no way.
Really?
I think you're full of shit.
Really? Why do you think he's so old?
He was born in 77.
Wow, he's like same age as my mom is, so yeah, 40s.
He's almost exactly 40. He was born in September.
Ah, time flies, doesn't it? Time flies. We were kids once, Jacob. Young kids. Don't you remember those days?
I do.
You come in on the bus holding Dante's A Divine Comedy.
Yep.
Well, it's very important to our friendship, Dante's Divine Comedy. It's the bedrock of our friendship.
Yep. Anyway, we gotta put a little pep in our step here because we're half an hour in.
That's why I had to get up. My butt was really hurting.
It's because we're sitting on buckets.
Yes, we are. Like I said, it was my body, like an amorphous blob, was slowly incorporating. Like I'm a single-celled organism. It's slowly incorporating it into itself to digest it. Unfortunately, it's plastic, so I can't.
It's going to be roughing out on the toilet.
Yep.
As I try to pass a bucket.
Not pass the bucket, pass a bucket.
I'll be right back. I got to pass a bucket. What? What did you say? A bucket of what?
Anyway, yeah. So that whole scene happens. Then we get. She does tell Bruce that revolution. This makes it sound more Marxist. The revolution is upon us. The proletariat will seize the work. The means of work. I can't remember what it is.
The means of production.
The means of production. Yes, you're right. The proletariat will seize the means of production.
There's no reason to comment on why I remembered that immediately. Let's just move on.
Everyone, I got something to tell you. I got a folder here of communists on Salty Playground.
I've got a list of known collaborators
in this very podcast.
I said as an authoritarian. I'm on the other side.
No, communism always leads to authoritarianism.
Leads to. It's not supposed to be.
But it would never get to that step because it's more government, and the government's supposed to just disappear magically. That's never going to happen.
You don't believe in magic? Of a young communist girl's heart?
Do you believe in magic of a young communist? Nope.
I don't know why you tried. I don't know. Did you think it was going to magically work? Did you believe in that magic?
I did believe in that magic.
Don't think, imagine?
Anyway. The proletariat. You didn't even know what the bourgeois. First of all, you pronounced it the bourgeois. And second of all, you didn't even know what the bourgeoisie were. You thought they were the poor class. I remember talking to you, and I was going, "Yeah, the bourgeoisie." No, the bourgeoisie are not the poor class. They're the rich, but they play tennis all day. Oh my God, Jake!
I get things easily mixed up. There's too much in my head.
You got too much shit in your head. That one worked. Solid.
If you say so.
Time on your hands, shit in your head. Works. I'm like Ray Charles. Blind and black. Can't play the piano. Anyway,
Dark Knight Rises.
Now that we got the communism out, exposed it for what it is.
Filthy lies.
Filthy lies. What type of authoritarian are you for? Are you for like just traditional go back to monarchy?
I'm for the Illuminati, where we're mysteriously controlled by shadowy backers.
I don't think like that would work.
It's not important. It's a goal to strive for.
It's a goal to strive for shadowy power brokers. Dark smoke-filled rooms.
Utopia doesn't just come to you. You have to work for it.
I mean, honestly, like we're talking fictional governments. The Brave New World, it's very authoritarian, but it's not so bad.
See, you get it.
I mean, it's it's a lot of rape, but I mean, hey, you can.
What does freedom give you? Nothing but sadness.
Freedom gets you not rape. Authoritarian, nothing but rape. Butt rape and butt rape.
Nothing but rape and butt rape?
Yeah, that's not good for anybody.
What if
But then it's not rape anymore, because rape implies it's not consent.
At the start.
49 no's and a yes is still a yes.
I think if you're surprised, I think eventually.
That's why I restart my recordings for 10 minutes into it. So when I go to the jury, I can go, look at this evidence. She was saying yes the whole time.
Anyway, that's neither here nor there.
No, that's for me and my my court case. The arraignment's on Monday.
I just needed some last minute. Made evidence against you. This has all been a sting.
No!
An elaborate sting.
They got me again.
Something that you'll never hear in some sort of sitcom about a criminal?
A serial rapist?
I'm raping again!
with a smile and a thumbs up.
He's at it again. No. You can't transport that fabric. That framework.
You can. I think people would be horrified by it. I think it would last an episode.
NBC's not picking up. I don't even know what you would call that. Some sort of jokey title about rape. I'm at a loss.
I don't know. I'm trying to think. Everyone rapes Raymond. Rapists.
But, I mean, if it's Everybody Rapes Raymond, that's a different show. That's about a serial rape victim, which is soul-crushing. Completely different show.
You don't think it could be comedy?
Oh, we are off the rails.
Yeah, we are. Serial rape victims, serial rapers. Why can't they get along? Maybe that's a sitcom right there. A serial rapist and a person that's serially raped accidentally become roommates. And through it all become friends.
Perhaps even lovers. That's how all these shows go nowadays.
Yep.
Horrifying stuff. Shut down immediately.
Anyway. Dark Knight Rises.
Let's all cleanse our palate a little bit.
Oh, that was a long digression. But anyway, we're never going to get anyone on this show because of shit like that. That's exactly what's going to get no one on this show. We've joked about every genocide, first of all. No, all genocides are equal in our eyes. And we've talked about AIDS and rape and also race relations. Because we've claimed that babies are all white till they're exposed to the sun.
You have to remember, ostensibly, we're just people reviewing movies. Ostensibly.
Ostensibly?
Ostensibly.
There's a reason why we have a comedy tag.
But we've gone 42 minutes and we're about 30 into the film.
If that. So yeah, so Batman. The Dark Knight Rises.
So we find out that while Selena was dicking around and stealing necklaces, she was also dusting for Bruce's prints, and she stole them, and she winds up in a seedy bar to sell them to...
After kidnapping the senator.
Yep. Congressman. Congressman.
He just jumps in his car and goes, "Can I have a ride?" And he's like, "Oh, you put the words right in my mouth."
I know!
I was like, that was ridiculously creepy on both counts.
That guy's Secret Service agents must report...
Congressman, he doesn't have a Secret Service agents.
No, he needs some sort of security because he's on...
Congressmen generally have either... It depends on where they're at. But they usually have their own security force.
Well, he was in Gotham, so he should have had somebody there who say, no, people just don't get to come into your car, sir.
But this is more realistic Gotham, so there's no, like, Joker short.
He was at a fundraiser celebrating the fact that they finally solved their organized crime problem.
Yeah, it's solved. No crime.
I think only the slow people were still in jail, though. He said there still was crime.
Okay. It's like the world of... it's like Kingdom Come storyline. Batman has solved the crime. Which I don't even you even know about that storyline.
Is that the one where the new generation of superheroes like kill people and Superman becomes so disgusted he leaves?
No, he becomes so disgusted he comes back. And basically Marvel Civil War happens, but 10 years earlier. Think Marvel Civil War, everything that happens in that registration, all that bullshit, that was in Kingdom Come 10 years earlier.
Is that the one where Wonder Woman's like in Vietnam?
No. That's the one where a lot of shit happens, but basically everyone teams up against Superman because Superman so what Superman always does when he goes evil. But he's the Tony Stark of the Civil War in this one. And Captain America is Batman. The Batman in this one, since he's been completely broken bodily, he's like in his 60s. So he has to actually have like a mech shit to actually walk around. But Batman's basically Captain America in that one. And him and all the normals actually fight the superheroes. That's good stuff.
They all kind of run together.
Do they, though?
Yes. But again, everything gets jumbled in my head.
It's because you can't concentrate.
I cannot.
And that's the problem with the shows, and I can't either.
That's why we're
45
minutes in.
So Batman.
Yeah, we're going to have to buckle down a little bit here.
We keep trying to buckle down. And you say buckle down, my anti-authoritarianism kicks in, and then I want to not buckle down. Like I'm doing right now. I'm not talking about Batman. I'm talking about not buckling down.
I'm going to need you to shape the fuck up.
See, now I want to reject that too.
All right, I'll just start talking about the movie. Or eventually might just have to give up and give our scores.
No, we have to talk about the whole movie.
I don't think that's true.
We got to do it all.
So we've done that before. We've done that with we did that with Cat in the Hat.
We did do that with Cat in the Hat.
We went
but to be fair, Cat in the Hat was a trash show for trash people.
It wasn't a show. I assume the shows with Cat in the Hat are wonderful.
No.
Just going to make that blanket statement.
Yes.
All right.
And I'll be correct.
Anyone who disagrees, who watches, I don't know, the Cat in the Hat knows a lot about it. That tweet.
Cat in the Hat knows a lot about that. Is that a thing?
That is a thing.
What?
Yeah.
What?
It's like a PBS show or some shit.
Oh, the good thing is getting cut.
I think we should wait for them to pull together a budget before we talk about what may or may not get cut. There's some crucial steps they're missing.
Like, some people want a wall, some people don't. Some people go, that's too expensive, dude. Some people think that the birds can't. Well, a wall will stop a bird from getting from one side of the country to the other. Did you hear about that?
I hear about lots of things.
There was one environmental group that was making the case that the wall will stop the migration of birds.
I'd be more afraid for the butterflies. Yes. Voiced by Martin Short.
Monarchs. Monarchs the ones that go down to Mexico, right?
Yep.
Yeah. I know that from Venture Brothers. Don't you love how I know things?
But yeah, the Cat in the Hat knows a lot about that.
It's trash.
He's voiced by Martin Short for some reason.
Because he's the easiest of the three amigos to book.
What are the other ones doing?
Wallowing in all their money. That's what I imagine. Chevy Chase and Steve Martin. Well, Steve Martin has his bluegrass band.
Chevy Chase
is raving nonsensical madness.
Yeah.
as he wanders the vast mansion of his home, like Ebenezer Scrooge with the candle and everything.
I mean, he's well known to be impossible to work with.
I wonder why that is. Is it because everyone loves him?
I don't think it's because everybody loves him.
What? I mean, the people, Jacob, not the Hollywood elites. They don't count as people. They're not people, Jacob.
Well, they're lizard men.
Yes, you know this. Lizard men controlled by the lake monsters. Because it all goes back to lake monsters in the end. Like Cthulhu. Cthulhu's a lake monster. Coincidence? I think not. Anyway.
Wow. Chevy Chase is such a douche, he's banned permanently from Saturday Night Live.
Wow. Huh.
He slapped Sherry O'Terry on the back of the head as a joke.
I don't know who that is.
I don't know who he is either.
Anyway.
Other people have been banned from hosting Saturday Night Live? 6 people.
Anyway, Batman. Oh, I don't remember what happens next. It's a lot of setup. A lot of this movie's setup. A lot of setup. I mean, there's some action, like when Bane goes into the SCC, but up to that point, it's setup. The good thing or bad thing, though?
I don't know. Well, it's a bad thing for us, because again, we're struggling to describe this movie.
Because it's a lot of setup. It's setting up dominoes.
I don't know.
And then watch them all follow.
How do you want to do it? We're just.
I could have. I really wanted. I kind of want to do a really crass joke there, but
we just review the movies. We don't technically have to give synopses.
It's true. So philosophically, how do you feel about this movie?
Philosophically,
whack Socratically. Socratic method this shit. Make a statement, and I'll Socratic method this shit with you.
You mentioned last time about the Dark Knight, the terrorism things. I think you probably see it more here with Bane, because I mean,
he's straight up a terrorist.
Well, I mean, at first he gets brushed off as a mercenary, but I mean, he is ideologically driven.
Yeah. And
his mercenary thing is a smokescreen to get him in Gotham and to set up his plan.
Well, not his plan.
No, yeah, no.
Spoiler alerts for a 5-year-old movie.
Yeah. Let's all marvel at that.
Let's all marvel at what could have been.
What do you mean, what could have been?
They could have just made this part of the DC. You almost said animated universe. That'd be a little bit different.
That would be different because the DC animated universe is good.
The DC extended universe, the DCEU, because they could have had JGL as the new Batman. I know a lot of people. I like a lot of Batman fanboys hated that. They hated his character because his name was Robin. He wasn't Robin. His name was Robin.
could still technically go by Robin.
And the fact that he never really, donned the superhero costume. But fanboys are fanboys.
I don't want a movie to hold my hand like that. I'm perfectly capable of putting together those clues.
I mean, this movie is, like, The Dark Knight's slow at points.
Yes.
But The Dark Knight Rises is a lot slower. And
I mean, it is, but I mean, until we look at the time, it doesn't feel that way.
No, you know what I'm going to say?
Because, I mean, something is always happening.
Except for, which I love Liam Neeson. Liam Neeson's is my jam. But taking Batman Begins out of the equation. Dark Knight and Dark Knight Rises, the best parts of those movies are the villains. Bane is the best part of Dark Knight Rises, and the Joker's the best part of the Dark Knight. Take them out, and they'd... Well, first of all, the story would make sense, but...
It's just Batman wandering around a crime-free Gotham.
But, like, they're the most iconic parts of those movies. I mean, Morgan Freeman's great in anything he does. So is Michael Caine, generally. But, like, I wouldn't say Christian Bale's Batman is the best Batman we've had.
I mean, regarding the villains...
I would say Michael Keaton's Batman, those movies were slow, but he was still the best Batman. Up until I think Ben Affleck's doing a pretty good job too. You haven't seen Batman v Superman though yet.
Not yet.
Maybe we should do that next week.
It's your choice.
I might choose that.
But regarding villains, I mean, I think that's just I'd say that's almost a conceit of the superhero genre now. Because I mean,
not Marvel. They're Marvel. The villains in Marvel suck, except for Loki. Suck.
I mean, I'd say
Ultron was trash.
I mean, I'd say with like Batman, his villains.
Every Iron Man villain sucked.
I'd say Batman's villains have baggage, cultural baggage. I mean, they're just iconic by themselves. Like, I don't know. I mean, Batman's villains and Lex Luthor, maybe Brainiac, they've got, like, cultural weight. They're always going to necessarily...
I'd say the Joker has cultural weight. But, to be fair, but every Joker's been different. I mean, been interpreted different.
I know, but, I mean, still just the presence of the Joker's going
to warp a bit differently. Because
I think it's going to warp your movie. Because, I mean, it's, again, huge. It's like gravity.
Okay, I can see that point.
But I mean, that's why, like you said in some of the Iron Man movies, it's like, who the fuck is this guy and why do I care?
Batman is interesting because of his villains, not because necessarily Batman.
But I mean,
but you can have Batman interesting without but I mean, Batman v Superman. That Batman was the most like I haven't seen it yet, and we'll see it next week. I made the executive decision. It's happening now. But one of the cool things about that movie specifically, and one of the we get to see in the comics a lot more. We actually see him get to do detective work as opposed to pawning it off on other people.
Regarding the way, I mean, you see that in Superman's villains, but I think that might just because of his older movies. I mean, you've got Zod, you've got Luthor. Like I said, for Iron Man, I mean, he doesn't. Before these movies, he was nobody.
Iron Man was a shit comic.
Yeah, I mean, Iron Man, Thor,
shit comics.
People would know Captain America.
Yeah,
but probably not his villains.
Hitler. They had no Hitler.
That's true. That's a fair point. But I mean, I guess I don't know what it is.
Yeah, no. Well, let's be fair. Like the Avengers, that team, except for Hulk, Spider-Man, and Wolverine or whatever X-Men members, a member of them. Those are the three that are actually make the Avengers before the movies sell comics. Were those main characters? No one fucking cared about Tony Stark. No one really. Even Captain America was kind of cool, but as a general population wise, no one cared about him.
Even then, I'd say with if anybody but
the huge seller of Marvel has always been Spider-Man, X-Men comics, and to my extent after that Hulk. And then it drops off to Fantastic Four, and then really drops off historically. Yep. Fantastic Four is one of the ones that I don't even think they have their own main comic right now. But just historically, while DC, the big ones have always been Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, the big Trinity, and they're also the ones that lead the Justice League. And they also have their own Trinity comic, which is just them three. And they also have their own comics. And half the time, Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman might have 2 or 3 of their own standalone comics on top of Justice League and then Trinity because they're huge. They're huge. Well, because they're all very diametric to each other.
But I mean, like I said, I don't know where this difference between Marvel and DC comes from.
DC does have older age because
Superman
was the first
that
superhero.
Might just be it. They've got probably an extra
because the big Marvel superheroes didn't come until like the 60s and 70s.
That's when almost all Stan Lee.
Yeah, Stan Lee and collaborators. I'd most say collaborators plus Stan Lee.
There's Stan Lee, Kirby,
Steve Ditko.
Yes, and Ditko, and they weren't until the 60s.
Yeah,
so 60s, 70s. That gives Batman 40 extra years, and it gives Superman was like 20s, 30s.
Batman and Superman came out very, very similar.
Yeah, that's about early 30s.
And Wonder Woman was about the same time as Captain America.
I want to say that was near women's liberation. I want to say that'd be 50s or 60s.
No, 40s. She was a big part of the war effort.
Oh, that's right.
Of at least World War II, I think. Maybe not World War I. That's too early. But I know, because soldiers. There are soldiers reading Wonder Woman comics overseas.
But I mean, at this point, 41 by the way, December 41.
But yeah, those three, they have. Even Wonder Woman has a good at least 20 years on any of the other big Marvel ones.
Yeah, I think that by this point.
So they have an inertia behind them.
But I mean, by this point.
But then again, name me 3 big Wonder Woman villains.
Hades, Cersei. Oh wait, that one Nazi lady. I can't remember her name though. That's as close as I can get. Good 2.5 maybe.
I was actually going to go. I could only name 2. And I can't even name the other one. It's Ares.
That's right, Ares.
I didn't think Hades, but the cougar lady. Can't remember. Cheetah. Yeah. Cougar, cheetah. Yeah. Cats. Catwomen.
But yeah, I'd say by this point, DC's villains are just as iconic as their villains, right? Marvel doesn't have that recognition, that might be why they try to cram in so many villains into like fucking Spider-Man.
I mean, I know the Spider-Man villains really well. And I think probably favorite Spider-Man villain is of course Prowler.
Kind of like Kraven. Kraven's kind of a badass.
He was until he committed suicide.
What can you do?
Not do that.
Not commit suicide? I don't think life breaks down to the choice of to or to not commit suicide.
I think it's what Shakespeare said, to be or not to be.
I think that was his intention. If you read between the lines.
Yeah, that's like Merchant of Venice. It's clearly all about that. Not anti-Semitism, Catholic propaganda whatsoever.
It's all about suicidal ideation.
Yeah, but yeah, it's just. Well, I might know Spider-Man because I liked Spider-Man as a kid, and then like for us, we had the cartoons, but those cartoons were X-Men, Spider-Man, and Hulk. Yep. When we were kids. No one gave a shit about Iron Man. It wasn't until
I feel like Stark Industries might have featured a little bit in X-Men Evolution, but it's been so long.
Yeah, it really because X-Men got big too after the live action.
Mm-hmm. Evolution was early 2000s.
Because X-Men had been their biggest seller for throughout the 90s. Because they had like 10 X-Men lines.
I think Spider-Man was wallowing in the Clone Saga at that time, which turned off a lot of people.
Because it was stupid. That's why it turned off people. Because it was stupid, Ben Ryan. But yeah, no. So that might just be it.
Those extra 20 years? You think that's enough time to just sneak?
Maybe not, because because more of the iconic supervillain stories were in the 80s, 90s of DC. Because you got like or late 70s. Like no, because that's 80s too. Killing Joke was 80s. Killing Joke was 80s. Long Halloween, I want to say, is 90s.
But yeah, I mean, I think the Joker was in the first or the second.
Yeah,
Batman issue, so he's been around as long as Batman has.
But yeah, I think just DC's generally had a better handle on their stuff. And to be fair, not like early DC comics, it wasn't always facing off against one supervillain. Halftime it was just
they're just thugs.
Yeah, thugs, random thugs. So the philosophy. We got way off track. We got off track of the off track we were doing so we could stay on track.
Well,
Did you like that?
We gave up on staying on track. We're doing something different now. But I feel like if they can sit through 50 minutes of nonsense, I feel like what we just did, I think that's worth something.
Yeah. Is there anything else you want to extrapolate maybe from this Batman Dark Knight Rises?
I don't know. What are your thoughts?
Honestly, this movie does suffer a bit, unfortunately, because of Heath Ledger's death. Because I know at the very least he was supposed to be the judge, not the. And we don't really know how much, because he died before Dark Knight came out in theaters. But so there's only vague ideas of what the Dark Knight Rises was going to be.
What it could have been.
So what it could have been if Heath Ledger was still around, though that might have made it so he would have overshadowed Tom Hardy's Bane performance.
I mean, we don't even know if Tom Hardy's Bane performance was supposed to be that big until Heath Ledger's death. We don't know. I guess you could side the Joker's anarchy versus the populism. You can see.
Yeah. But that'd be a very interesting movie to see. The Dark Knight Rises is still good. It's still a great movie. But if it wasn't for Tom Hardy's performance as Bane, it would be a lot more languid.
Yes.
Because first of all, the ad-lib on that's a beautiful voice,
a lovely, lovely voice,
and just all his delivery of his Bane lines and stuff. It's great stuff. Other than that, like you hammered on like all the stuff that I generally took from this. Though it might just be my innate libertarianism going, the Patriot is a horrible, horrible thing. Never give up. Those who give up a little freedom for temporary security deserve neither.
All right, Franklin.
Yeah, I like Franklin. He was a smart man. I mean, he's the one that him and Adams were the ones that convinced Jefferson to put Pursuit of Happiness as their property in the Declaration of Independence, because he thought, yeah, if you put property, that makes a slave owner's case really stronger. Don't do that.
We can never forget that Benjamin Franklin wanted our national bird to be the turkey.
It's a more noble bird. Let's eat bald eagles instead. Actually, I think they went, Ben, bald eagle tastes terrible. Look at, you know how much meat is on this thing? And compare the meat of a turkey. Come on, Ben.
I want a national bird that stands for something and is delicious. We're not just choosing which bird to represent us, we're also choosing which bird we're going to be allowed to eat. I changed my mind. Bald eagle. I'd rather eat turkeys.
That's how they convinced Ben Franklin.
Ben, I've got 2 plates of meat here for you. This one's awful. That's bald eagle. It's this one. This one's turkey. Whichever one you choose is the one we're not going to be able to eat. Yeah, bald eagle.
Bald eagle. Bald eagle is the correct choice.
But it's a little known fact that choosing our national bird went down to a taste test. They don't teach you that in school, kids.
They don't. It's the true history here. That was at a dinner party after they had been done deliberating at the Constitutional Convention at Philadelphia. They're like Ben, here's two plates of food. Which one tastes better? Oh, this one. Well, that one's turkey. Ooh.
Well known for his excess.
Well, yeah. that one is a factual fact.
For a certain type of bird, if you know what I'm saying.
French birds. If you're picking up what I'm throwing down. He like the ladies. Anyway, yeah. So other than that, I of course I hate the whole Dent Act bullshit. Yeah, even though they're criminals, I mean, you have to treat everyone equally.
I mean, they might suffer because again, they don't give us any specifics. Just something about denying parole and it keeps them in prison.
And there's the other thing that I didn't pick up on until I did watch a video on what failed philosophically about Dark Knight Rises. One thing was the whole truth thing about Harvey Dent. It kind of got glossed over because Bane did read it, but the reaction wasn't really what you would think of that kind of truth coming to light because he broke the prisoners out, not the citizens. Yeah. So unless that was the case they're going for, that the truth doesn't matter because people don't care about the truth, which that makes me go, oh dear God.
I mean, yeah, part of it is that Bane is just he's acting. He doesn't care about any of it.
Yeah.
His goal might have just been he might have released the prisoners either way. We have no way of knowing.
Yeah, that's true. I had to stand. Again, my butt's engulfing the stool. But yeah, so other than that, yeah, I can't think of anything that we might have missed. You want to give a score first?
Yeah, I'll give it a solid 8 out of 10.
8 out of 10? I think I would agree with you completely. 8 out of 10. 10 fits. It's not as good as The Dark Knight, but it's still a solid movie.
I mean, it's another one that's not just a good comic book movie. It's
just a solid movie. I think that's what Christopher Nolan was going for. He was trying to make it a
accessible.
More accessible, realistic comic book movie that wasn't just all flash and no substance. Like other comic movies, like the Thor movies. And the Avengers movies. Most of the Marvel movies.
My problem with most of Marvel movies now is they all follow a script. They're all a framework.
Yeah.
I could probably write out the plot for the next Marvel movie.
What's the plot of Guardians of the Galaxy 2?
Maybe not Guardians of the Galaxy. But I mean, for the next, because I mean, they all follow the...
What's the plot of Thor Ragnarok?
Well, first...
We've seen the trailer. So have you seen it yet?
I have not. We're probably going to start in Asgard, where Thor's probably going to be, I don't know, complaining about not being on Earth, banging some chick. And then we're going to cut to the girl on Earth, where eventually she's going to run into the problem. She's going to be saved by Thor again. And Thor's going to be reluctant to involve her in his problems, but wanting her to be because he's in love with her. It's all very complicated. Can I help you?
You are hilariously wrong. It's amazing. So, in the trailer...
I don't trust trailers anymore. I've been burned so many times.
In the trailer, what happens... I'm standing for my ovation.
He's talking down to me. I don't appreciate it.
In the trailer, what happens... Hell attacks Asgard. Thor gets sold into slavery to a different planet.
Sexual slavery?
No gladiator fights.
Oh.
And to Jeff Goldblum's planet is basically remember that where Mongol's planet, Battle World, basically that. Except for it's actually more like Planet Hulk because he runs into Hulk, who's also gladiator, and he has to fight him for some reason. And Hell is doing stuff. She actually looks really attractive.
Even her scarred half?
There's just a lot of emo makeup. She looks like an emo chick.
Oh, that's upsetting.
It's attractive.
It's upsetting.
I like it.
I guess you're not a fan of true Norse mythology.
Nope.
Where she's got one hideous hat.
It's a trash mythology for trash people. But yeah, so that's I don't even know if I don't think it means Futures Earth at all. So it's.
She did. Portman said she was done, right?
Yeah. So you were wrong on like every account. Just want to let you know that you cannot write the next movie because you are incorrect. You went too specific. That was your problem. Looking up anime chicks.
Yeah, I'm trying to find a picture of Hela from the. I typed in Hell Ragnarok, but I got no hits.
Yeah. So yeah, that's I'm pretty sure she's Hell. I could be wrong. Look up Thor Ragnarok. Just go on IMDb. I don't know why you don't go on IMDb. It's easier.
No, I was thinking Hela. Yeah, no, there's no scarring there.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
Wrong stuff. Weren't you the person complaining about the name of Freya? And now you're going to accept an unscarred Hell?
You know why I'm going to accept it? Because you know who that actress is?
Kate Blanchett.
Yes, and you know who she played?
No, not offhand.
Really? We talked about it this episode.
We did?
Yeah.
Talked about a lot of things.
Galadriel.
Oh. Really?
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, 8 out of 10. Anything you want to add?
Nope.
All right, so that was our review of Batman: The Dark Knight Rises. Next week, join us for Batman v Superman. Hopefully, we should have normal seats, so I won't be changing seating positions constantly, and hopefully, I'll be no longer like a single cell organism trying to eat everything. And you, Jacob?
I'll lead us out. This has been Salty Playground. You can find us on Twitter, on Facebook, on any major podcast platform. If you have any, let's be honest, hate mail, or just facts that we got wrong, email us at saltyplaypod@gmail.com.
Saltyplayground@gmail.com.
Saltyplayground, and our Twitter, saltyplaypod.
Yeah, our Twitter's at saltyplaypod. Our email is saltyplayground@gmail.com. Hate email, fact checks, asking us about our day.
Special requests. Weight loss
Sexual
tips.
favors.
You can follow Christian specifically at Cold Christmas.
Cold_Christmas. They're different.
You can follow me specifically at brain_amoeba.
I'm sorry, but if you type in Brain Amoeba at Brain Amoeba, you don't come up. Same thing with at Cold Christmas. You have to be specific, Jacob, because we're gonna make it big.
Is there somebody at Cold Space Christmas?
It'd be Cold Christmas altogether.
No. Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe. I can't remember. It's been a minute since I changed my name.
Anyway.
Yep.
Tune in next week.
Tune in next week for Batman v Superman. Later, Gators.